On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. These guys are destroying themselves. Absolutely. Everything they do, everything they touch, every direction they try to move in makes them look more and more guilty, makes them look like they're failing. We're going to continue to enjoy and appreciate that. I got a pretty crazy F around and find out moment today. Recently, it's not what you're supposed to do, but it is kind of funny when sometimes people pick fights with the wrong people, and you know you shouldn't have afterwards. This dude, good on him. Held his own really well. We've got that. I also got a very bad, I want to say Jamaican bobsled team, because that's the song that kept popping into my head but it was the U.S. bobsled team. We had a whoops moment. We'll watch that. It's actually I love bobsled. I don't know, for some reason, it's just cool as hell. So we'll watch that at the very end. And I got a whole bunch of stuff. Iran, concerns there. Trump's obviously going to do something. Don't know what yet, and I don't know exactly what they legally can do and how that all's got to play out. So that's going to be very interesting to see where he goes. There's huge numbers we're hearing of people possibly dying. We've got a whole lot. The war with Ukraine, if we listen to that Swedlow guy, that's supposed to be over here in 2 days, it certainly doesn't look like it, but it might be. Who knows? Maybe they'll just come out of like left field and be like, we've decided to end the war. Some referee runs out onto the battlefield and throws a flag out, and everybody just stops fighting. Who knows? We're going to see for sure. I want to start off in a fun location. This is just how I feel a lot. And I think this is one of the largest problems that we have, both sides of the fence, with everybody. It covers from everything from religion to Q to everything in between. Political, everything. People are so brainwashed into their left-right nonsense that when someone speaks truth, if that truth doesn't align lockstep with their side, they assume that person is on the opposite side. This is the level of consciousness we are dealing with. One of the biggest problems I have with my channel, I made the mistake of going into the comments the other day, and I was just like, wow, this is why I don't read the comments. That's fun. And again, it's just a lot of that type of stuff. Someone actually called me a commie. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, all right. I don't think I'm a commie, but all right. Fair enough. It's just interesting how everybody's got to believe the exact thing, especially like spirituality. I think it's really fascinating. Like everyone's spirituality should, to a degree, be his own or her own, right? It should be yours. You should have a relationship with God, and that should be whatever it is, and you believe and understand that to be whatever it is. But there's a lot of people that are like, you got to say it exactly the way they say it. Say it the way we say it when we say it. It's kind of strange. It's one of the hardest things. How do you guys, it's very sad. Speaking of people meeting the maker, it's kind of sad. Scott Adams, I'm going to be honest. I was completely naive to this all happening. I saw it. He kept popping up in feeds. I'm like, who's this guy? And I didn't bother to look. I didn't know. Now, it is funny, this was my favorite cartoon when I worked for a healthcare manufacturer for a period of time. Our boss was his boss. They looked identical. So we'd constantly post the funny ones, and our boss never, ever figured out that we were making fun of him. All the ones we posted were the ones that were literally him, being him. Like it was, love Dilbert. Dilbert's one of my favorite cartoons. Calvin and Hobbes, Dilbert, I don't know. What else? There's probably another one in there somewhere I should be thinking of. Garfield, of course, come on. How can you not like Garfield? Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, political commenter, dead at 68. He had cancer going through all that. So, yeah, I thought he was one of our guys. I mean, he's politically on our side of the fence. Very young, had some horrible cancer, I guess. And, a lot of people were worried about whether or not he would convert to Christianity at the end of his life. I guess he was atheist, and he did say that he was and did do that. He didn't actually do it like live or anything crazy like that, which, again, I'm sure a lot of people expected that or wanted that. But it's like his thing, he's about to die. He needs to come to terms with Jesus and all that before he goes, right? Like that's kind of his path, not anyone else's. And again, I just wonder how many people are like, he should have done it live. No, he shouldn't have. Why make him have to do something publicly that should be like his private? It's so weird. I've always been like this. I've known a lot of famous people when I was in radio and stuff. I met a bunch. I never ever just some of the things people think. It just blows my mind. Anyway. So yes, he did leave one final message. Said, if you're reading this, things did not go well for me. I have a few things to say before I go. My body failed before my brain. I am the sound mind as I write this January 1st, 2026. I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and I look forward to spending an eternity with him. There you go. So, and that's, frankly, that's the beautiful part about it all. You know, you got that moment where you're, frankly, any moment in time, you can come to that place. And if you do so with absolute intent and honesty, and you're there, you're good. It's a beautiful thing. DC, East Coast, essentially, going to be getting another crazy polar vortex during our global warming. So you guys are going to have an extraordinarily cold day. Oddly, it's super warm over on the West Coast. So I don't know if you guys see it. It's like literally, they're not trying to show you comparative colors. It's like literally the west side of the country is nice, unseasonably warm. The east side is like, no, it's stupid cold. You guys suck. We hate you. And that's why there's an east and west rivalry. Yes, there you go. Right there in a nutshell. Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation reflect on 60 years of Cuban terror. I think I did want to play this. At least I started playing it. Let me see if this is... I think it's just playing in the background. What I did want to bring up about this, and I think it's very funny, is a lot of the people on the left, the communists in our country, it seems, but they actually think a lot of this stuff. They support these communist countries, but it's funny, is anyone that legally comes here from these communist countries, all 100% say these communist countries suck, that this communist ideology sucks. It's horrible. Venezuelans don't like the way Venezuela became when it became communist. Cuba, oh my gosh, how many generations of that? Russia, when they finally broke out of their communism. Chinese people that come here from China don't want communism. Nobody likes it. Yet, all these people, all these educated people that are so smart, they went to school, and whatever. And these are the ones that are like so pro-communism, trying to shut down the stupid school board. We'll get there in a second, and they're fighting it. These guys haven't done anything. They've spent $3 trillion since 1987 or whenever the hell they created the stupid education, national education thingy. We'll get there. Labor Department put this out. I love this too, by the way. It's such a good homage. U.S. Labor Department posted, "It's Monday. Patriots are in control. Let's get to work." How do you like? I mean, right? That is Q. I'm surprised they don't have a hidden Q in there. They're like, you can't put the Q in there. God, people will lose their effing minds. The time and date, the stamp. They posted it at this time, and it was this time zone. And again, sometimes they're right. We got a bunch of people that are, what do they call them? They're former transgender people. They call them, what do they have a new fancy name for them. They are known as detransitioners. A bunch of these people are coming out. They're very upset with the way these situations were pushed, the way they actually literally had, I would call them predators. You've got people that are male and female, that are older and adults, that aren't the parents of the child, that are handling a child when they're going through one of the most confusing times of their lives, especially from a chemical standpoint. Dude, I remember I was all a mess in junior high. I didn't want to be gay, but I didn't also know what the hell, like, I certainly wasn't, like, wanting to just go and get some either. That didn't start happening until later, you know? This was confusing times. So they take advantage of this. They groom them into a direction they want. Not what they necessarily want as kids. And then they keep it from their parents, which is just all sorts of illegal. There's some Supreme Court cases that are happening in regards to boys and girls sports. So hopefully we'll get some answers on that. That should be interesting. A lot of flu stuff going around right now, especially you guys on the East Coast about ready to get bombarded. I will just tell you, the ivermectin collection is one of the most important things from a number of ways. And then we're going to move to the contagion kit for sure when it comes to sicknesses. This is the coolest thing I've ever done. I can't even stop raving about it. I love the parasite cleanse. The things that it's done for my body, the way I feel, the way certain things just don't seem to happen anymore. It's very cool. It's very, very cool, in fact. So we've got these compounds that have been kept from us, antivirals. So they've got just regular ivermectin, if you just want to keep it simple. They got that. Great price on that. I think it's 15 milligram tablets, which is awesome. The Parasite Cleanse is 25 milligrams of ivermectin and 250 of mebendazole. You get 90 capsules. You take one a day for, 30 days on. They'll tell you. And then you take 30 days off, and you kind of work through it that way. And you will be amazed some of the stuff that will change in your body. Just all over. It's pretty freaking fantastic. Also, skin stuff. They've got ivermectin in 1% lotion. People are raving about it when it comes to some of the skin cancers and some of the things maybe on the balder heads and stuff like that. So people are really, really seeing a lot of benefit. So major products, you want to check them out. Certainly it's going to be under the ivermectin collection. Also the contagion kit, this is just if you're worried about the flu and you're worried, like you're one of the people that the flu, like it kicks your ass and you almost died the last time, or like it freaks you out. This is what you want. I've got one of these in my bathroom for that reason. The last flu got me. I had the Ivers. I knocked out the infection quickly, but a little of it got into the lungs, and that's where I was bummed. I had all the stuff to kill the antiviral. I did not have the antibiotic, which is the azithromycin. That would have knocked it out of my chest. Now, it didn't lag. It didn't linger. Thank goodness. But it did happen. It ended up kind of coming to a little color, and then it went away. So it didn't get real bad, but it could have. They've also got another antiviral that I think has more to do with sort of your upper respiratory as well. And that's this generic Tamiflu. And then they've got budesonide, which is like basically asthma medicine. So if you can't breathe, if you're having a moment where you're like, I can't breathe, like it's got that inhaler in the nebulizer. And you got 5 of those vials. That's possible life-saving 5 times if you get it real bad. This thing will save your life if you are someone that freaks out when it comes to the flu. So you definitely want to go to the emergency kits, and you want to get yourself a contagion emergency kit. Medical emergency kit's got a lot of antibiotics. Highly recommend that as well, because there's just a lot of different weird infections we can get, and they talk all about that. And of course, they got first aid kits and stuff like that. Travel emergency kits. These are things that are good gifts for kids, especially. But you should always have something in your car. You should have a change of clothes. You should have, ladies, you should have tennis shoes or something comfortable to walk in. You should always, always, always have a blanket, have some water. You should always have something just in case. You never know what could happen. Always. Beef boxes are incredible. These are really delicious. And also they got protein sticks and beef jerky, bison stuff. But the beef boxes, like steaks. They got like steak. These are awesome. They send them to you. They're frozen when they get to you. It's dry ice. Right? I got the Cattleman's Lean Meats. I haven't finished it yet by any stretch of the imagination. Actually going to probably do one of those maybe Thursday. But Pasture's nutrient-dense meats, so they've got a lot of them. This is what I'm going to get next time. I love ribeye. This is my favorite steak. Flank steak I can do a lot with. I'll probably make something fun like carne asada. But again, they've got collagen-rich meats. They've got all this very, very high-dense meats, delicious meats, American-made, wellness farms, right? So grass-fed, I think, in a lot of cases. Incredible stuff. So that's another great example. Again, they've got everything. If you guys rolled up your sleeve or know somebody that's living with you that did, the Ultimate Spike Detox is designed to keep that out. And frankly, folks, if you're just like, how can these guys help me? They've got it by goal. Anti-aging, appetite control, cleanse and detox, hormone and sexual health, heart and health, immune support, Spike collection, new products, right? They've got even a plastic detox thing that they've got that's pretty awesome. Stuff to help your teeth and gums. They've actually got, if you want to see a doctor, they can do virtual medicine. They've also got memberships too. If you're going to be doing month to month to month, the memberships are actually a really good idea. It saves you. You're going to get free shipping in some cases. You're going to get a lot of really cool little perks for checking out the membership. So again, a lot of great stuff. The Wellness Company is who they are. TWC. TWC.health/OTF. That's TWC.health/OTF. You can do that healthy stuff. Keep yourself healthy. Got all sorts of products that are worked in that direction. You know, it's funny, the longest, abbreviation, like it actually makes the word 3 times longer when you abbreviate it, which is funny. Like abbreviations like, MP, right? Military police, right? That's a shortened abbreviation. The MP is much shorter than the military police. There's multiple syllables. World Wide Web, there's only 3 syllables, but WWW is actually 9 syllables. Kind of funny. I think that's funny. This Texas Parental Rights Amendment, this is interesting. California screwing things up likely, but yeah, wrong pipe there. Texas Supreme Court, they issued a statement about this child and his family. The parents divorced, and they said basically you can't transition this child. Child goes to California. California, in fact, lets them do it. And so now we've got this issue where they're like, well, why didn't don't you have to be held by the court order even though you moved? Doesn't that court order still kind of follow you since you were here and it was given to you? And we don't know. Doesn't seem like it. In California, obviously doing some very crazy stuff where they can do stuff without the parents' consent. So all any weird parent has to do is just take their kid to California and they can strip them away from you. And California will legally do it. That's basically what happened. This parent got deparented because they didn't want to do the transitioning thing, and California took the kid away from him. So this is going to be an interesting case to see where this goes, the differences between states. California leads multi-state suit to block Trump's admin from dismantling the education department. Still oddly, one of the just strangest things. Education department, we've spent $3 trillion since its inception. And all of the metrics, 1980, I guess, sorry. All of the metrics have gone down. Everything. Every metric there is to judge a student has gone down since the creation of this. Now, we've got a judge that's stopping it. I was going to stop them from doing this. I don't know how they can. I want that'll be one of the cases I'll want to listen to for sure. Now here is, got a lot of communists in schools, and I saw this and I was just like, this is just unbelievable, right? So taking indoctrination to a whole new level. No kidding. Maple Grove High School students in Minnesota staged an anti-ICE walkout endorsed by school faculty. Literally. The little communists teaching communism to the students. Now, for those of you that were as pissed about this as I was, basically, this is kind of cool. Make you feel a little better. Lanier Betts, it says, I go to school there. These people are not a representation of us. Over 2,200 kids stayed in school during this protest. That is about 300 outside. Also, I'm not surprised they're protesting because half of my teachers taught crap about Donald Trump and our government. So good stuff. We're hearing what we should be hearing, at least. A couple election things. Oregon election authorities have begun clearing 800,000 inactive voters from their voter rolls. It's a good chunk of voters. I don't know what the difference was in how they won states, but I would assume 800,000 votes could make a difference. That's for sure. So good on them. Texas sends their voter rolls over to the Justice Department to review. Only U.S. citizens can vote in Texas. They figure they caught about 2,000 potential non-citizens, so they think they got tight, clean rolls. Personally, I kind of hope they come back and say, yeah, Texas actually had a bunch of people on there. And then let Texas get really good at doing that stuff, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe you guys nailed it. Hopefully. President Trump stands fully behind the heroic men and women of ICE. And here is Carolyn Levitt speaking exactly to that point. And, let's check it out.
Secretary Kristi Noem has been front and center in response to this ICE video. Is the president satisfied with her efforts there and all of her media interviews?
Yes, 100%. President Trump and I actually spoke about this last night and how Secretary Noem is doing a phenomenal job, not just securing the border, which she and the president did together in record time, but also in defense of the brave men and women of ICE who put on a law enforcement uniform every single day to protect our communities and to protect all of you and every American, regardless if they are Democrat or Republican. ICE is doing a very important job to remove illegal alien criminals from our communities. And I think it's very striking that all weekend long, you had agitators and violent American citizens out in the streets of Minneapolis protesting. Protesting what exactly? Apparently they are protesting the removal of heinous murderers and rapists and criminals from a city that I can guarantee you, when you look at the list of the illegal criminals that ICE is removing from our communities every day, not a single person in those protests and not a single person standing here that works in the mainstream media in Washington, D.C. would want those individuals in your neighborhood, in your community, around your children and around your families. Wow. ICE is doing an incredibly important job that's not just important to our homeland security, but our national security. And this administration will continue to stand wholeheartedly by the brave men and women of ICE, including that officer in Minneapolis who was absolutely justified in using self-defense against a lunatic who was part of a group an organized group to interject and to impede on law enforcement operations. And it's disgusting what we have seen from the left. And I think that it just shows you where the modern day Democrat Party stands today in protecting illegal alien pedophiles and rapists and murderers over law-abiding American citizens and our brave men and women who serve in law enforcement.
I think what's going to happen over the next short period of time is Americans are going to see that Trump has been working for us overwhelmingly. But they're going to see that Congress has failed. Now, they're going to notice that the Democrats are going down this very crazy path, but they're going to realize that the Republicans have absolutely failed them. They failed to pass things. They've gotten some stuff through. We'll talk about it. But they're not doing a very good job. If Trump gives us clean elections, we clean up this world, guys. We clean up this government. We do it. You don't necessarily need the Brunson case. Maybe that's going to go. We'll see. We'll see how hard they stop us. We've got what many would call backstops, as Trump has learned in the Wharton Business School, apparently. So there are backstops to what's going on. We'd like to do it certain ways. If they can't, there is alternatives. Noam just told Somalis to leave the U.S. by this date, March 17th. It said their TPS protected status is over. You got to go. March 17th. We'll see how many. I'm sure some district judge is going to say they can't do this, whatever. We'll get that ball rolling, and they're probably going to do it like right at the 17th or something crazy, but that'll come. We'll see. I can't wait to see what happens to these judges, but nah. Republicans weigh making foreign-born public fraudsters deportable, subject to denaturalization. We'll see. This is Rep. Buddy Carter, Republican from Georgia, touted the importance of a planned bill to make convicted fraudsters of foreign origins eligible for deportation and denaturalization. Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee has co-sponsored this bill for the upper chamber. So, again, we'll see. What I do think is pretty amazing, Trump, 100,000 visas have been revoked. State Department, so far, has taken 100,000 visas, including some 8,000 student visas and 2,500 specialized visas for individuals who had encounters with U.S. law enforcement for criminal activity. Bye-bye. Visas revoked. You get to go home now. We got a chaotic video showing a bunch of anti-ICE agitators blasting fireworks at cops. This is just, well, it's craziness, really, is what this all is, right? But let's see.
You!
Yeah, it's super illegal when they throw fireworks. This is, by the way, your mostly peaceful protests. These are not ICE agents, by the way. These are police. These are police. These are mostly peaceful protests, just people at night, because there's no ICE agents to attack. So they're literally attacking the police. Of course, they're doing it in the name of hatred of ICE, but none of these guys are actually ICE. I don't even think they're National Guard. I think there's cops. So yeah, this is, well, failing for the deep state. And I know Trump's already probably gotten message to Tim Walz. It's like, look, here's the thing. You let one federal officer get injured or killed in your borders, I am sending in the fucking Marines. Or something to that effect. I could pretty much assume he would say. And they're even saying that might be what has to happen, right? The Marines. That's tripping me out. National Guard seems why that's there. I don't want to get into whether that should be legal or not somehow, because the Marines are the Marines and they were created first and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. There's some rationalization that they come to. I don't think military soldiers are supposed to be doing policing here. I think that's why we have National Guard. But again, I don't want to piss anyone off. Again, if I don't think exactly the right way, I've heard the theories. I'm still working through them in my mind, I guess. Right? Maybe I don't accept things as easily, but it certainly pisses people off when you don't. follow the rules and think the way I think. F around, and by the way, and I don't require people to think the way I think. My world still works beautifully when people disagree with me. I like it. I think it makes for fun conversations, unless they're just total nut jobs, in which case, I don't usually talk to them very long. This is the F around to find out. This is not what I recommend. I am giving a disclaimer. There is some punching. I don't see blood per se, but there is violence. So if stuff like that is not good, you shouldn't do it. Never do it. That said, yeah, it's going to be happening in here. This is total F around and find out. Again, not recommending this. Should always let law enforcement handle these problems. Blah, blah, blah. All right, there we go. I think I said enough disclaimers.
Hey, guys.
I love that dude he lays out. This guy, that was the dude that was carrying this. That's that guy. He got laid out. Again, this is why it's dangerous going into these lions dens. But first off, just having enough cardio. He punched 5 dudes in the face. Knocked down 3 of them. I mean, this dude, don't pin a medal on that man. Again, not for doing the appropriate thing. That's why he was getting a medal for doing inappropriate things. Because it seems to be celebrated on the left. Illinois sues Trump administration over use of federal force in the state. It's federal troops doing ICE maneuvers. They're trying to stop this from happening. Again, then the only other move, and I assume that when the judge says no more ICE stuff can happen in Illinois until we get to the bottom of this case, then Trump would be like, all right, no money of federal at all. No federal money at all goes to Illinois at all until we figure out this case. So long as we've got federal interests and federal money, we sure as hell have a reason to make sure there's not a bunch of illegals running around there that you guys are trying to protect so you can win elections. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. Minnesota ICE shooting raises chances for partial government shutdown. I pray they shut down the government for the ICE raids. I pray they shut down the government for the ICE raids. Think about it. They're pandering to the illegals who can't vote and won't be allowed to vote. That's who they're pandering to. I pray they're dumb enough to go down that path. Please, Democrats, I triple dog dare you to go down that path. There is no way you survive this. You're pandering to people that are not legally allowed to vote. You're awesome. Keep it up. Don't mess with somebody when they're shooting themselves in the face. Senate advances government funding measure as shutdown deadline looms. We heard this got through the House. They've now pushed it through or they're heading it through the Senate. Seems to have support, by the way. And thank you. There it is. Thank God the hill refreshes because I had it highlighted. But the Senate voted 80-13 to advance this package, which passed the House last week by an overwhelming margin of 397 to 28. This was very cool. Package covers funding for the Departments of Commerce, Justice and Interior, Sciences and Related Agencies, and Energy and Water projects. This was being held back earlier because of the water projects and the fact that they were pulling the space agency out of Colorado. But now that doesn't seem to be as big a problem. So we've just managed to fund part of the government. That's good. And as I've said, I think a lot of this is we're literally broke, literally, and there's only so much that we can actually fund. I think tariffs are a part of this. And I think, maybe we've been approved for a little bit more money to keep some stuff alive if Congress is passing it, which is great. That's awesome. It's the only way we're going to keep government open. So we'll see. Well, government shutdown's looking very possible. It's the 13th today, and they've still got 6, 7, 8 more packages. I've forgotten exactly how many there are. I want to say it's like 14, 13, somewhere around there. But yeah, they got a few more through. That's kind of good news. The big picture, I guess. Bill, Hillary Clinton, they skipped a House deposition for this Epstein investigation. Sent a letter to Comer and basically said, there's times where people, he says, let's quote him, make sure I get it right. Every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences. For us, now is that time. So there you go. Bill and Hillary Clinton are putting their foot down. Awesome. Cool. You guys started the fire. You guys made it okay to go after former presidents. You guys did this. It's okay. You can complain, and you will. We know you will. We know the Dems are going to complain. Oh, I can't believe this is political. All right, whatever. I don't give a shit. It's 100% what it was when you were going after Trump. You can doubt that all you want, or you can say it's different because it's okay when you do it. I know. Rep. Comer says, we're going to go ahead and start the contempt process for them.
Unanimously by the committee in a bipartisan manner, we will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress. Yeah, so with that, be happy to answer any questions real quick.
Mr. Chairman.
Anybody on the committee?
Will I bring Donald Trump in for an interview?
Well,
In this investigation?
President Trump has answered thousands of questions about Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, I would say today, you all ask him questions every day. He answers questions every day about Epstein. You can't bring in a current president of the United States, and you all know that. So, but President Trump has answered thousands of questions about Epstein. I bet today, at some point, some of you all will ask President Trump questions about Epstein. He answers those questions. To my knowledge, former President Clinton has never answered questions about Epstein, and we just had questions because, again, I think anyone would admit they spent a lot of time together while Bill Clinton was president and post-president.
I was barely with that girl. Yeah, that's so bad. It sounded so like I was going to be able to pull it off in my head, and it didn't happen. Oh, well, when you suck, you suck. I got to own that one. Wear that with a badge of pride. Depends what is. All right, Senator Mark Kelly is suing the War Department and top military officials, saying their efforts to punish him over his political speech violates his First Amendment and separation of powers. You don't have a First Amendment right when it comes to the military. And when you're active retired military, you still have to respond to the Code of Justice, Military Code of Justice. So that's it. End of story. And those are two separate, talk about separation of powers. You're very right. And when a district court tries to keep a military tribunal from happening, and they might very well let Mark Kelly be the first person to kind of start that process, meaning a district court will say that the military cannot do anything to punish Mark Kelly. It's First Amendment right. And I guarantee you, within like a week, the military will have court-martialed this mofo. And then when the judge is like, you can't do that, the military will be like, you have no jurisdiction over this. That is settled law, period. Time and time again for hundreds of years. No, you have zero chance. You can tell us to stop all you want. We're going to tell you to go pound sand or fuck off. It's still one of my favorite responses. It really does work in most cases. Under Sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, it's Donald Trump truth in this, the average American household monthly utility bills went up massively. Over 30%. This is going to be another factor because in a lot of these left-leaning states, especially right now, this cold snap that's happening in the East, which is some of the worst power out there, California too, we start fires with our power. We're awesome. And then we blame our power companies, so then they get sued to pay for the damage, and then they raise their prices even further and start more fires, and then, it's just, it's awesome. It's good times. It's really, really good times out here. It's beautiful, though. Beautiful weather, Anyway, electricity, data centers, all this stuff's going to start happening. Trump's making it happen. Therefore, he says, my administration is working with major American technology companies to secure their commitment to American people, and we will have much to announce in the coming weeks. First up is Microsoft, who my team has been working with and which will make major changes beginning this week to ensure that Americans don't pick up the tab for their power consumption in the form of paying higher utility bills. We are the hottest country in the world and number one in AI. Data centers are key to that boom and keeping Americans free and secure, but the big tech companies who build them must pay for their own way. Thank you, and congratulations to Microsoft. More to come. All right. This Ørsted wind farm thing, the one that was causing it's a problem with our radar or whatever the hell. It's actually a national security risk. Well, the judge is like, no, Ørsted can continue to keep this going. Now, apparently it was about 90% complete, but just the very usage of these turbines causes problems. So I'm not sure how this one will play out, but they're basically saying that they've got to continue to fund this wind project while it works its way through the courts. Pretty sure this will get appealed, but again, I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. Some things don't get appealed properly. Some do. Some are meant to be signs for everybody to see. I think this is, if it literally is a national security risk, this will be stopped. Has to. And they'll probably come up with without sharing something that they can't share because they don't want to give away secrets, which is going to be more fun because the court's going to be like, well, how's this national security risk? And we're like, I can't tell you. You're a stupid-ass judge that'll probably tell other people. There's no fucking way I'm going to tell you. Well, you have to. No, I don't. There's national security risks. This military guy that just said it's national security risk, that's your expert. That's how you know. Trust him. You don't want to trust him? I don't care. It's a national security risk. We'll blow him up. Be kind of funny, right? Launch cruise missiles at our own structures because the judge won't let us not build them, so we just blow them up. That'd be funny. I mean, it's not cool. I certainly hope that doesn't happen. Silver's just having a crazy ride today. I got it at the top. I got a snapshot of it. It's pretty sweet. It was up, 88.40-ish, right? Pretty close to the peak. It was up $3.31. This is a bad sign for the big picture. Now, they tried to do something. It looks like they tried to do some paper contract action here, and then it caused a lot of people to have to buy more. It looks like the banks are desperately trying to take care of the fact that there's a supply problem. And essentially, this is going to create a liquidity problem. There's going to be not enough liquid in some of these banks to continue to buy silver to pay for the contracts. They put out more paper contracts with the hopes they can get more money. But if more of these people want the actual silver, which is what the paper contract guarantees you, then they're screwed. Because they've been selling multiple paper contracts per each individual silver. We've talked about this, one silver coin. I've heard people say they're selling up to 100 paper contracts against this. So if you think about how that affects the price, I sold 100 silver, but it really, I got a bunch of money for it, but it's only one silver I actually had to invest in my fractional banking mind. It's crazy. Stocks are down, at least the futures are down. Let's see, up for the day, I guess. Not a lot. That's pretty flat, let's call it. Yeah, now it's catching up even. Gold's down a little, which, indicates the dollar somehow gained a teeny bit of strength. The Federal Reserve note, I should say. Dow's down about 1%. S&P's down about 0.5%. So is NASDAQ, about 0.5%, roughly. Confidence has certainly gone down a bit today. It's up down 7%, I guess, which is just a stupid thing. Oil's over 60. That's very interesting. It finally crossed the 60 mark. That makes oil a lot more affordable here in the United States. So that's interesting. And if it gets much higher, that'll be really good for the United States and our oil production. And some of that may tie into what's going on with Venezuela and all that. Guys, look, here's the thing. I don't know when they're going to have issues getting and procuring physical silver. That's one of the things we're hearing is actually starting to happen. Don't let that happen to you. Get it done quick. Get out of your 401k IRA, or at least divest a bunch of it into precious metals. You're going to protect your buying power first off, especially with gold. Gold's going to protect your buying power. Silver, you're going to get a multiplier. The price of silver is going to go up and up and up. The contracts, the paper contracts, it's going to bring down some banks. We're seeing everything moving in that direction. The price of silver spiking is a bad sign for the banks. Period. End of story. And then the way that collapses and how that plays out, that could be a lot of fun as well. If you've got a 401k or an IRA, I highly recommend you consider protecting your wealth while you can. It's actual physical metals. So they're not giving you paper contracts. You need to make sure you get it going before everyone else, because when you can't get the physical metals anymore, it'll be a bummer because you won't really be able to move forward. There's no promises. They don't make you sign on the dotted line for a promise. There's actual physical metals before you sign on the dotted line. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. My good friends at Goldco, I love these guys. And they're going to take care of you. Best customer service ever. Tax-free, penalty-free. You're going to move as much of that money sideways as you can. And up to 10% free silver. That's the tricky part. Free silver. That right now is going through the roof, the value of silver. So again, the way they process it, I don't know. It's not all going to be coins and stuff like that. In fact, I don't know if any of it is. Probably a lot of it will be silver bars and nuggets and stuff like that, but it's still physical silver. Go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Get up to 10% free silver, tax-free, penalty-free. And if you can call within 20 minutes of putting in your data points, pretty strong chance you're going to get the coin, the Ronald Reagan silver coin. It's 0.99% pure. It's a collector's item. It's beautiful. It's actual U.S. coinage. It's minted. It's a real coin. You could spend it for, what are they, 50 cents or was it a $5 piece? I don't even know what they are when they're solid silver like that, and they're half ounce. So an ounce is, well, it's Canada, $5. I don't know if that's the same for U.S., so maybe half that, whatever the case is. And it's worth a few bucks on face value, but it's a collector's item. You don't want to sell it. Go to DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Protect that wealth while you can, because that ain't going to be there much longer as far as the protection. There's a big problem with silver right now. Physical silver is becoming very difficult to find, and what they suspect is when people realize they can't get silver anymore, they're going to go, well, I'll just get some gold at least. Get on it before they do. If you guys are late to the game, you may not get to the game at all. So please, DRSlikesgold.com. They've got multiple suppliers. They're one of the best companies you could possibly work through to get this accomplished, and they got the best customer service. Let my good friends help you out. They are the best. DRSlikesgold.com. All right, so we're going to start here. This is pretty awesome, at least with this part. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Peter St. Onge, I don't know, he's PhD apparently, so he says. So 10% of the federal budget is stolen. We've come to find out. This Scott Bissett was telling us. So 10% of the federal budget is stolen. Another 20% is disguised vote buying. And another 15% is debt service to finance past theft. That right there is 45% of our debt. 45% of our debt is mainly being used to destroy us. This $38 trillion of debt, 45% of that has been used to destroy us. Donald Trump truth this, just out, great low inflation numbers for the USA. That means that Jerome Too Late Powell should cut interest rates meaningfully. If he doesn't, he will just continue to be too late. Also out, great growth numbers. Thank you, Mr. Tariff, President DJT. Yeah. We've got Puro on Powell. The fact that looking into him and the fact that this renovation is ridiculously expensive. I think I've got Trump talking about it. $25 million is what he says it should have cost. The fact that it's multi-billions of dollars is ridiculous. Piro's like, look, if he would have just answered our questions, responded to the outreach we sent, we wouldn't be doing it this way. But he didn't. They thought they were above the law, apparently. So we're finding out more and more. Now we're finding out Senator Tom Tillis vows to block all Fed nominees after DOJ probe into Jerome Powell. So we're looking into the Fed. Tom Tillis now saying he's going to block everything. We've also got Senator Kennedy, who I generally like. He's on the wrong side of this one for sure. He says we need to go after them like we need another hole in the head. He says all this is going to do is raise interest rates. He's probably right, but ultimately that's what Trump's after. Reining in the Fed. Taking the control away from them. The only way you can do that is to demonstrate they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And we also have found out that they're sending, it's over $100 billion a year out to other countries that we pay for. Just they themselves, our bank, our central bank, sends it out to other countries. I don't know if it's anyone exciting. I feel like I'm watching a session of Bad Boys. Cops. Bad boys, bad boys. I think that's Popo. Maybe that was an ambulance. Hard to say sometimes. Anyway, whatever. President Trump, he just implied Jerome Powell has potentially been committing fraud while in office. That would be enough to kick him out.
Senator Tom Tiller says that the subpoena, the grand jury subpoena to the Federal Reserve Chairman was a little excessive. What do you think about that?
Well, that's why Tom's not going to be a senator any longer, I guess, right?
Well, what do you think?
But I like Tom Tiller. He's a nice guy. But look, he's not going to be a senator any longer because of views like that. We have a bad Fed chairman. He's bad in a lot of different ways, but he's bad because his interest rates were too high. And today we had a great inflation report. And today we had a really great growth report. So we have great growth and low inflation. And we're doing very well.
Do you think there's going to be a rate cut, though, with the inflation?
I don't know. With this guy, you don't know. He's got some problems. But what he also did, he's renovating a small building. It's the most expensive construction job in history, and it's only a renovation. I could have done that job for $25 million. They're spending billions and billions of dollars. He either doesn't know what he's doing, or it's worse than that. And you know what I mean by worse. So hopefully he'll be out of there soon.
Does it impact your timing on being the Fed chair?
No.
When do you expect to do that now?
I don't know, sometime in the next few weeks.
That guy sounded super gay. Whatever. He had a weird voice. All right, we got some fraud. Let's talk some fraud now. Donald Trump, truth this. Do the people of Minnesota really want to live in a community in which there are thousands of already convicted murderers, drug dealers and addicts, rapists, violent, released, and escaped prisoners, dangerous people from foreign mental institutions and insane asylums, and other deadly criminals too dangerous to even mention? I don't know what that exactly means. Too dangerous to mention? I guess. All the patriots of ICE want to do is remove them from your neighborhood and send them back to the prisons and mental institutions where they came from. Most in foreign countries who illegally entered the USA through sleepy Joe Biden's horrible open borders policy. Every place we go, crime comes down. In Chicago, despite a week of incompetent governor and mayor fighting us all the way, a big improvement was made. Thousands of criminals were removed. Minnesota Democrats love the unrest that anarchists and professional agitators are causing because it gets the spotlight off the $19 billion that was stolen by really bad and deranged people. Fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming. And hell yeah. $700+ million found in Somali immigrant suitcases on their way to Minnesota airports.
For Somali-led organizations with alleged ties to the massive fraud scandal. Now, as the FBI pushes forward with its own investigation, one key question arises. What does accountability even look like in this case moving forward? So joining us now to talk about all of this and more is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Great to be on with you, too. What a crazy time we're seeing here, aren't we?
Absolutely insanity. And I know oversight in the House is looking into these fraud allegations, but I wonder if it's even bigger than we have uncovered thus far. The $700 million in cash going out of the airports there. I have a feeling we are still just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it looks really bad and obviously very alarming to see that this U.S. cash has been legally going through our airports. And of course, there is a requirement of reporting if you're going to carry more than $10,000. There's a reporting requirement, but I think a really interesting part about this is if, isn't it going to be a little suspicious when you start seeing 10,000, 100,000, millions, and now, more, as John reported earlier, more money that goes through JFK, goes through the Minneapolis airport. Something's wrong there. And I think something that's very interesting that we impose on banks is that banks are required under banking law to require and file and keep track of what they call suspicious activity reports. This is something I think we need to do now when we see the large amounts of U.S. cash, and it's always U.S. cash. I mean, you're not going to see, Chinese yen or anything else going through there. And U.S. cash is king, and we need to certainly have this type of cash exchange reported. It's interesting because you see all this illegal immigration we've had over this time. And by the way, most of those Somalis that are in Minnesota probably came through a refugee program, and probably many of them are already legal American citizens. So suspicious activity reports, some kind of accounting for cash, I think would really be helpful. I'm looking at ways that we might be able to do this so that we could actually look at what's going on. Banks are required to do that. Individuals are not. But I'll tell you, if I'm a TSA agent or anyone else and I see this kind of cash going through, and that you're able to report the amount of cash going through, that it's happening in plain sight. We're seeing corruption in plain sight. most of the remittances that go back often go to these foreign countries, and there's substantial portions of their economy, whether it's Guatemala and Mexico and other countries. Their own workers are sending that money back. But this is at a level that is just unprecedented. And I really think we need to look into a way to track that and to actually show that we can hold them accountable, and that type of suspicious activity leads to fraud, arrest, and what we're seeing unfold every day in Minnesota, which seems to get worse by the day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I want to ask about the two most common way illegal aliens, also legal aliens, by the way, legal residents in the United States, but move money out of the country. Remittance payment centers, and of course these cash couriers like the ones that we're working out of the Minneapolis airport. Is there any thought in Congress to requiring that a remittance payment business or a cash courier ascertain and make sure that before they move money, the person that they're moving money from out of the United States is a lawful resident or citizen?
Yeah, I think that should be a requirement. And also they should have some kind of certification that you are a person that we can trust, our intelligence forces have already vetted, that you can be carrying these huge amounts of cash back and forth to other countries. And I don't think those types of laws are in place. And I think that's a really good way to start having accountability and also tracking where this cash leaving the United States is going. And look what it would have led to had we paid attention to this over the last 10 years, and what you reported earlier on $700 million. I mean, that's almost $1 billion going, I think it was 700 million going, through an airport in Minneapolis, not JFK. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
An insane amount of money. $700 million of cash. Cash, by the way. I don't know if you've ever tried to pull any sort of quantities of cash out of the bank, but I even asked, I think one time, I'm like, what's so much, like where they actually end up on a report? I think there's 5,000, 10,000, somewhere around there. Depends how you do it. So like a certain amount per a day and then per month. I don't remember exact numbers. I thought it was a lot. It was like, damn. But still, trying to pull out that kind of cash, how? That's a lot. That's a bunch. Like you're tied in with banks at that point or something. There's a lot of, but best sense, he's on it. He's on it. Reuters posted this, so it's probably not true. Minnesota sues Trump administration to block surge of federal immigration acts. I mean, I want to believe that's probably true, just because it sounds like something Reuters would seek and be happy about. But yeah, they're supposedly suing U.S. Homeland Security, trying to block the surge of immigration. Like, this is crazy. This will be one of the first places ever where a state's been able to be like, yeah, so we told the federal government we can do whatever we want. We're our own entity, but they need to keep giving us money, though. No. They got to keep giving us money. Otherwise, we go broke. Can't pay for this stuff ourselves, but we're going to do whatever we want. I don't think so. Here's Border Patrol responding to Mayor Frey's demands to leave Minneapolis. Well, if you could guess, probably not willing to, huh?
We're out here to do a job, and we're not going to stop until it's done. If a mayor wants to say something that he's not for us, if anybody wants to say that they're not for us, that is not going to stop what we're doing in Minneapolis or anywhere across the country.
So, okay. So I guess there's that. This is going to be fun. This is fun. Scott Bessent, there's a lot of little snippets in there. I was going to actually watch the whole report, and then it started, and I was like, oh, they did a very good job chopping this up. This is definitely a dude. I am 100% sure of it now, and I'm sorry, Mr. Sweetheart. But, damn. All right. It is what it is, though. NTD, you go. You be bold, you be brave, you be beautiful. That's fantastic.
And an update on alleged widespread fraud in Minnesota. In an exclusive interview, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says investigators have uncovered schemes far larger than expected, with illegally obtained taxpayer funds sent overseas.
NTD's Daniel Monahan has the key takeaways from Bessent's interview with Blaze TV host Christopher Rufo.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says Minnesota has become a blueprint for uncovering similar fraud nationwide.
The American people are the most generous people in the world. You just can't take advantage of us. When immigrants come here, you got to learn which side of the road to drive on, customs and laws to follow, and that you cannot steal from the U.S. government the way you did from your government.
Bessent says fraudsters have set up an organized scheme to game the system.
Benefits have been turned into businesses. It is a cottage industry of teaching people how to form multiple LLCs, how to game the system, how to move money around, and we'll see where the money goes.
The Treasury Secretary raised concerns about what he calls massive leakage of public assistance funds leaving the country.
If you are on public assistance and you are sending money out of the country, one of two things must be true. You are getting too much assistance because you have excess funds to feed yourself, your family, food, clothing, or you've got stolen money and you're sending that out. But in either case, money needs to stay in the U.S. or your benefits need to be cut.
Besson touched on potential cover-ups, saying there are evidently tapes of Attorney General Keith Ellison in meetings with people who donated to him.
Them calling for political favors to stop the investigations. So we'll see. But again, I don't want to get out ahead of the investigations. It's going to be very methodical. And Chris, I can guarantee you, when the bear trap snaps, we're going to get these folks.
The Treasury Secretary says his interview was originally planned at the Minnesota State Capitol, but Governor Tim Walz refused to guarantee Besant would be provided any police security.
He is afraid of what is coming. And he's not going to be able to hide behind this curtain because we will get there. And I don't have to go in the Capitol building to investigate him. I would love for him to come to Treasury and answer some questions. I can guarantee you that he will be safe and sound then, depending on what we discover. I don't know about his future.
Besant also discussed an alleged bribery attempt.
One of the Somali fraudsters tried to bribe a juror with $120,000. What turned out, she'd been given $200,000 to bribe the juror, and she skimmed $80,000.
Besant further warned that protests obstructing federal law enforcement appear coordinated and funded.
Someone is financing them. There are safe houses that when you see the 300 people with the same laser that they're using to blind DHS agents in courthouses in Portland, someone bought those lasers. And again, what we do is follow the money.
The Treasury Secretary talked about all the luxury cars and properties bought from Minnesota to East Africa.
How the hell did this happen? How did it happen? Like, President Trump is outraged. I'm outraged. The American people should be outraged.
The Treasury has announced that IRS civil enforcement teams are auditing financial institutions suspected of facilitating the laundering of Minnesota fraud proceeds.
In addition, the IRS will soon launch a dedicated task force to work alongside criminal investigators and prosecutors to recover funds and prevent fraudulent nonprofits from exploiting federal programs. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Yeah, it's just outrageous how much fraud's going on. It's just disgusting. Texas Governor Abbott's offering to help identify fraud in federally subsidized housing programs. I love Abbott doing this, and I hope, but I don't trust. I mean, Tim Walz did an investigation, Abbott. Like, would you be real happy to find out that there's been a bunch of fraud and abuse under your administration? I'm pretty sure you don't want that coming out. So I'm not sure if I'm happy about Hot Wheels doing this. And I'm sorry, I like the nickname. I think it's cool as hell. I hope Abbott can appreciate the Hot Wheels comment, because that Crockett did good on that one. That's the one good thing that Crockett has brought to this world. And her beautiful face. She's a very attractive lady. I'll give her that. She's ugly as hell on the inside. I mean, that is just one of the most disgusting human beings I've ever seen in my life. It's disgusting, but she's a beautiful woman on the outside. Yes. Anywho. Yeah, I get so fired up about this kind of shit. My poor girlfriend, man. I feel it'll be the thing that ruins our relationship further than I'm just saying. House Republicans coalesce around stock trading ban for lawmakers. Coalesce around this. They are hopefully going to be able to get rid of this. I think it's very few that are being allowed to. So this has got bipartisan support. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. This is why I'm kind of like just stuttering, I guess. This has been brought up for a few years now. We've made zero progress on it for something that's bipartisan. Well, they like it. Everybody likes it. Except like Pelosi, the high ups, and this new guy, I forget his name. He outperformed Pelosi, like doubled her numbers. It's like, what? This dude's sweet. He's on it. I'm sure he's on one of those committees that just gets a good inclination of what's going on, spending more time trading stocks. Kash Patel fired corrupt FBI agents in the anti-Trump Arctic Frost inquiry who weaponized law enforcement. So those people have been fired. So things are happening. Again, he can't say a lot of stuff that's actually occurring, but it is occurring. Now, this was released on Disclosed TV. I don't know. I haven't seen them necessarily do too much stuff that wasn't right, but they almost never cite their sources, which bugs the shit out of me. So whatever. We're just going to run with this for the moment. So in particular, a particular watchdog is saying that they would look at the risk of people in the UK seeing content that is illegal. Oh, this has to do with the suing Grok, suing X over Grok. Now, they're allowed to sue for up to 10% of their world sales, their world profits. 10%. One country could sue for up to 10% of X's profits. And all they got to do, they got a risk of people in the UK seeing content that is illegal in the UK. Well, all right. Whether UK has taken or whether X has taken appropriate steps to prevent people in the UK from seeing priority illegal content, such as non-consensual intimate images. If illegal content is being taken down swiftly when the social media platform is made aware of it. If X is protecting users from Grok breaching privacy laws. The risk posed by Grok to children in the UK. And whether X has highly effective age assurance to protect UK children from seeing pornography. What this makes me wonder, this one right here, is if you've ever used, I'd assume you can send not like kind of like Snapchats on Twitter to each other. I wonder if people have done some nudies and somehow Grok has gotten access to those. I know supposedly Musk's ex, she's one very common nude person that Grok has drawn. I don't know if there's a joke in there somewhere or not. Anyway, whatever. These are stories I see. Most of the time, not worth the time, but here I am talking about it, whatever. Federal judge orders HHS to restore American Academy of Pediatrics funding. Here's just another stupid example. $12 million of funding. You got to pay it. Whatever. I'm sure it'll be blocked. They just can't. Because once the money's spent, it can't come back. And I know they're like, we'll die if not. Well, you can wait a month. People, they don't have to work or, you'll pay them in a month. That's better than giving money that we can't get back. Almost always, it seems. So we'll see how that one plays out again. It's just a bunch of crap. Abuse, I call it. New York City Mayor Mamdani makes it harder for the feds to monitor Tren de Aragua at Rikers. This was one of the things that he undid that Eric Adams had done. Allowing the federal agents to actually look at Rikers Island and pay attention to who all was there. This has been taken away. Again, from the best examples. Johnson did, I don't know, he did right here, kind of, in my opinion. I think this is one of those places where he should have done this. But he talks about this 10% credit card interest rate cap could have unintended consequences. And anybody out there that's got credit issues probably immediately is like, you what? That's insane. And then anybody that's actually sort of credit responsible would be like, yeah, and I could list off probably about 3 different things that actually would be problematic. And he does a pretty good job kind of doing that. So it's like everything else, you would need legislation to do something like that. And we have a lot of work to build consensus around it. But you got to be very careful if you go forward in that. In our zeal to bring down costs, you don't want to have negative secondary effects. For instance, Johnson said, probably had not thought it through at first, but is the fact that credit card companies could stop lending money and possibly cap how much individuals borrow at a low amount. Meaning they don't let you rack up a huge limit because of this interest rate thing, so they're going to limit how much debt they're actually willing to go to. But if you're someone that's doing a business and a lot of your business on a revolving credit kind of thing, buy a lot of stuff on credit, and then you're constantly paying your credit card bill with the profits you bring in from clients and other things like that. Creates a problem. So he makes a good point, and it's probably something that we should all think about. But yeah, I mean, if you're in debt, you're in debt. But a lot of that is because people sometimes sometimes situations and circumstances require you to, rob Peter to pay Paul. It can't last long, and you're in a bad place if you're doing that, I hope. But there is a lot of people that I think that see room on their credit card as money they can spend. And I think that's irresponsible. Because it's not money. It's fake money. It's even less fake. It's more fake than the fake money that we typically spend. It's more fake than the fake money you're going to use to pay it back. L3 Harris rockets hire on a first-of-its-kind Pentagon investment into the missile unit. This is, some weird partnership they're doing. They're a solid rocket motor production company. They're also, oddly, and I don't know what it is with this L3 Harris company. This is something I'd like to see some people dig into. Because I assume it's good people behind it. But they're the ones that are taking the Qatari jet and turning it into Air Force One. That's L3 Harris. And then now they've got this sweet deal with the government. Now, maybe it's because they're actually making progress on the Air Force One conversion. And so because of that, and they've proven maybe that they're security and all that stuff is sufficient so they can actually work on top secret products or projects. We'll see. I don't know. This is something interesting about this company. L3 Harris. Keep that in mind. We got, oh, this is so cool. Sec War. He's getting rid of a lot of these crap places, crap parts within the crap DEI, all this shit. I love this dude. I love this dude.
That's why today at my direction, we are ending the alphabet soup of councils that meet and brief and write memos and schedule meetings, but never decide and rarely, if ever, accelerate outcomes. Effective immediately, the Defense Innovation Steering Group, the Defense Innovation Working Group, and the CTO Council are disestablished and abolished. In their place, the CTO will convene a CTO action group to assist him in making decisions, clearing bureaucratic blockers, holding leaders accountable, and most importantly, quickly delivering new technologies to our warfighters. Every organization in this ecosystem must earn its place by delivering warfighting advantages faster than our adversaries can adapt. No sacred cows, no exceptions.
Yeah. We need to move faster. We need to move better. We need to get all the bloat and bullshit out of there, the bureaucracy, all the red tape, all of it. And the crap generals, which I'm hearing convincing information from numerous different sources that, and I suggested this, though the numbers were way bigger than I was conservatively calling out. But yeah, when Trump had that speech, and he's like, I'm 45, 46, and 47. And I said, some of these generals got their walking papers, and they did it publicly. Well, we've heard, even through a lot of the lie detector tests and stuff, there's been some information that's maybe come out that a lot of these guys no longer are generals. We are in the changing times. I mean, again, I can't overstate how freaking awesome these times are. Just a great, I hope you guys remember the Saturday Night Live. Chris Farley, I loved him dearly. It's a shame he's dead. All the big ones died, right? John Candy, Farley, Belushi, right? It's just a shame. Remember that time you dared Trump to come after you? That was awesome. He's hanging out with Maduro when he says it. Chris Farley. I don't think that's his costume from the, I think that's more of his Johnny Boy costume or whatever, right? Or whatever that show was called or movie was called, but his dude down by the river, the van down by the river, that was a funny ass bit too. He was nuts. Trump, maybe he's going to freeze Exxon Valdez out of the CEO Darren Woods, this whole thing in Venezuela, getting rid of Exxon all over the place. Now, two parts to this, and it's weird. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but yesterday, I was watching one of his interviews, and he had the people in there, and there's a lot of questions. It was longer, so a lot of times I'll watch some stuff, and I wasn't recording it at the time. It's hard to snip stuff out. I hope I'll find some stuff. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So there's a lot of good stuff I sometimes just fail to get you guys. I apologize. There's just stuff I'm watching. I try to put it in the noodle and hopefully talk about it, and this would be sort of one of them. And there was a discussion, a question, and Trump's like, yeah, so you mean you want to invest some money into Venezuela? And the guy's like, well, we'd have to look on the return on investment, ROI, and over the time and the different things. And I think it was probably the Exxon guy. Because all the shit he was saying wasn't real, like, it was, I've been in enough high-level meetings it was that kind of high-level bullshit. See if an investment's worth it. But when you got the President of the United States trying to work you a sweet deal in one of the most oil-rich countries in the world, and you're like, yeah, so we got to think about wrong answer. And so then this came out, and Trump's basically like, yeah, and this is his quote, I'll probably be inclined to keep Exxon out. I didn't like their response. They're playing too cute. And they were. This is an opportunity to make a change in the world, to do the right thing. Now, Exxon got initially kicked out of Venezuela anyway because they've been a bit of a douche, I think. So and obviously Exxon Valdez, if you guys remember Alaska. So maybe Exxon's the company that doesn't make it through this. Maybe Chevron, maybe Mobil, or who's the other one? Chevron and it's in there somewhere, but it doesn't matter, right? The other big guy, ConocoPhillips, there it is. They'll make it. And maybe that's better. Maybe Exxon's so heavily deep state. Again, everything's playing out exactly how it should. There's a cover story for it. and their exit will be, well, forgotten about for the most part. They'll totally be forgotten about, but yeah, it'll probably be the end of them, or they'll be doing weird stuff, giving blowjobs in the parking lot for oil deliveries, something like that. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe they crossed the line. Australia is going to join the rare earth reserve rush. They're going to start keeping stuff. Australia's supposedly got a lot of resources. I got an Australian buddy that's a little nervous about our lack of just grabbing onto our Aussie friends and be like, hey, mate, down under, throw a shrimp on the barbie, right? Like, they feel like we're not going to invite them to the party. So I want you guys to reach out to any Aussie you know. Just find an Aussie. Be like, mate, g'day. And just be like, I love you, man. I love you, mate. Just be cool. Just let them know you love them. Australians need some love right now. They're a little scared. They're really far away. Everything in the country can kill you. So just, if you find an Australian on the street, just hug them. Thank you for your service. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? And be like, just for being Australian. Thank you for your service. It's tough, right? You live down there next to New Zealand, and they talk funny. They're really good at Kiwi and sailing. I don't know, whatever. It's nothing. I got nothing else. German businesses, they're crashing. Germany is the biggest economy in the European Union. They're dying. I love German people. But considering the past and the history of Germany in this world, and the axis of evil, that's what he used to call you guys way back in the day. Yeah, 2 world wars. So we don't particularly like you guys, kind of. So they're going broke. Badly. They're going to take Europe right down with them. Who feels bad? Anyone? No? Huh? I know. Go ahead. Crickets? That's what it sounds like to me. Eastern Mediterranean geopolitics are becoming more complex. Literally, that was you. Oh, no wonder I heard crickets. Damn it. So it's getting weird in the Middle East. I don't know how much of this is crap. It's Zero Hedge has unfortunately lost a lot of points with me. They're very, very heavily Chinese influenced. So I'm not sure how much of this is meant to be shifting belief structures, whatever. But apparently there's some tensions growing between Turkey and Pakistan, or Pakistan, and Israel, Cyprus, Greece. And, of course, Israel, Turkey. So, yeah, not good. Yeah, everybody's kind of freaking out a little bit. There's a little instability. People are a little nervous about what's going on. A lot of stuff happening. Speaking of which, Iran, this is freaking them out a lot. Now, Iran summons European envoys, and they're showing them pictures of armed rioters. They're like, see, these guys are shooting at us, so we should be able to just go in and annihilate them, right? Basically what's happening. European envoys are like, it's one dude with a gun. You can't take out one guy? Well, we want to shoot all 1,000 people that are next to him. Is that cool? No. You got to take out the one dude with the gun. Wow, well, what the fuck would we want to do that for? Where's the fun in that? That's Iran's thinking. One guy with a gun, we should be able to kill a bunch of people. That dude's dead long ago. Oh, sorry. I don't know. Just stick the trigger. Probably should clean my gun more. Apparently, Iran is hunting down Starlink users. I guess they had some technology employed that sort of helped block Starlink. I'm assuming if they get far enough outside of these range of these devices that Starlink suddenly works. So it does sound like they're having to move these dishes around and recommit. It's kind of one of the things that's cool about Starlink is it literally ties to your phone and you can go anywhere. You want to go camping? Take your Starlink thing with you. It's freaking awesome. You can get in the middle of nowhere. You got connection. Starlink's pretty cool, guys, and it's actually pretty fast. So for any of you guys that are camping or anything weird like that, you should totally have Starlink. It's way better than any of the other services out there, unless it's Starlink, in which case I would say you're comparable. Starlink to Starlink, tomato, tomato. So yeah, Iran's trying to hunt down people and kill them. Oh, look at that. This is Donald Trump. Faces of Trump. Dude. I wish they would have shown kind of a better, that one there, right? There was a better in-between one there. He still looks pretty old in that picture. Whatever. He put this out. Iranian patriots keep protesting. Take over your institutions. Save the names of killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on the way. What's that mean? What does he mean by that? Help is on the way. I should put myself on the screen, maybe too. So yeah, MIGA, make Iran great again. Again, we're going to do it. Like I said, I was talking to that chick at the friggin' coffee shop, and she's like, loves Lindsey Graham. That freaked me out. I was just not ready for that. Lindsey Graham is just a war hawk. I'm like, he's a war hawk. And she's like, yeah. I was like, okay. Oh, okay. Wrong crowd. So effective immediately. Donald Trump truth in this. Any country doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran will pay a tariff of 25% on any and all business being done with the United States of America. This order is final and conclusive. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump. This is where the Supreme Court's going to have a really hard time. Like, they're like, dude, this guy's using this to fix the world. We can't take these away from him. That's going to be the hardest decision for them ever. And then if Congress wants to take it back, then Congress needs to take it back. I still think that's going to be part of it. Or at least it feels like an easy out. Death tolls rising to thousands. Trump is saying help's on the way, of course. We're hearing 30,000. There's crazy reports saying up to 20,000. So again, what's actually true and what's sensationalism is often dependent upon the source of the info, I guess. But yeah, a lot of people are being killed. This is pretty bad. And supposedly there's casualties happening 195 different cities. And yeah, they're taking back control of their country. I wonder if Trump's going to utilize this, because one of the things that'll happen during some of these uprisings is they'll put certain people into protective places. And Trump knows where all those places are. Well, our military does. Trump probably does too. But so I'm sure we could probably get into a bunch of those. We just work out a deal with somebody and be like, so we're going to send in some guys and we're going to evac out so-and-so. And they're like, yeah, but he's in a vault. And they're like, yeah, we know. It's cool. Don't worry. We got this. Can we do it? And they'll be like, yeah. What are you going to do? And they'll be like, nah. We're going to take him. Thanks. Peace. Right? I doubt they do that. It seems more like a hippie move. I feel like most guys with machine guns aren't like, peace. They're fighting the fight. Day 1419. The Russian-Ukraine conflict just surpassed Soviet war with Nazi Germany. They were expecting that date to even possibly come into play too. But 1,418 days was how long they spent killing Nazis. And here they are killing Nazis again for a day longer thus far. Again, that Swedlow guy. Keep waiting. I don't know. It's 13th. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. Just want to point it out every day. Because if he's not right, I want to make sure that's pointed out every day. And if he is right, it's going to suck. We'll see, though. If he is, he is. I don't think any man knows the date. I mean, he's claiming a lot of stuff. Most of the other shit he said hasn't happened, so whatever. I just got to stop listening to Nino. Nino, I got to stop listening to you, man. You're ruining everything for me. Ruining it. Here's Elon Musk talking about making Star Trek real. We got a couple cool things here. I'm going to share these. We got the bobsled thing coming up. Check this out.
And I think it really helps illustrate how manufacturing and manufacturing at scale is critical to the strength of America. So, and I'll tell you a little bit just about the purpose of SpaceX. It's like we want to make Star Trek real. Okay? We want to make Starfleet Academy real. So that it's not always science fiction, but one day the science fiction turns to science fact. And we have spaceships going through space, big spaceships, with people going to other planets, going to the moon, and ultimately going beyond our star system to other star systems, where we may meet aliens or discover long-dead alien civilizations. I don't know, but we want to go, and we want to see what's happening, and we want to have epic, futuristic spaceships with lots of people in them, traveling to places we've never been to before. Yeah, that's that's the goal.
Yeah, I don't think we need 30 more minutes, but 30 seconds. But that is what a lot of people have been talking about that we're going to kind of head into. The idea of building these larger ships, building them in space, jobs created, just the technologies involved. I think we're actually a lot closer to that than people realize. Then we'd probably build them here at first in Earth, and then once we've got enough. But we are coming to a point quickly where it will make sense to have the abilities to get enough of us either underground or out in space. And it'll be very interesting to see. Again, we might have 10 years, 15 maybe. If we use our abilities, I think we've got options. But anyway, we'll see. This is where I sort of feel like my point in life will make sense. But talking about the Star Trek, this is pretty cool. Hegseth rocks.
Elon, appreciate it. Thank you very much. How about this? Star Trek real.
Star Trek real. Yes.
Appreciate it.
Dude, that must be real then if Hegseth said it, right? Right? I mean, gosh golly. All right, here's the bobsled, Jamaica bobsled team. This is sad, and at the same time, it's bobsled. I don't know what it is. I'm fascinated by this. So if you don't like this, sorry, skip ahead or bail out, whichever. But I think this is unfortunate and crazy all at the same time.
Ist der beste US-Amerikaner. Oh, was machen Sie denn da? Das gibt's doch gar nicht. Hat man sowas schon mal gesehen? Jetzt fährt er da ganz allein im Vierer hinunter. Verrückte Situation. Was ist denn heute hier los? Francesco Friedrich fährt gegen dieses Starteck. Und jetzt gibt's den Vierer als Einerbob. Da stimmt natürlich überhaupt nichts mehr. Die ganze Statik des Bobs ist kaputt. Die fehlen als Gewicht da hinten drin. Das wird jetzt ein wildes Gerammel von Christopher Horn. Hoffentlich stürzt er nicht. Bremsen kann er nicht. Er kommt da nicht hinten ran an den Rechen. Das wird sehr, sehr interessant, wie er das hier löst. Oh je, der arme Horn. Christopher Horn. Viel Glück, dass er hier sauber ins Ziel kommt. Jetzt wird es nochmal ein bisschen steiler, runter nach Celerina, wo sich das Territorium öffnet. Ganz wichtig jetzt hier diese Kurve, dass er die erwischt. Ja, er schafft's, kommt durch die Sachs. Der Rest ist jetzt Formsache. Das bringt er nach Hause. Da ist er im Ziel und dreht sich um. Wo bitteschön sind denn die anderen? Und jetzt ganz schnell nach hinten und ran an den Rechen. Perfekt gemacht von Christopher Horn. Sonderapplaus für diese fahrerische Leistung. Kommt auch von den Kollegen. Punktgenau zum Halt.
So, I mean, just to point out something that maybe none of you guys really paid attention to, but so just the steering guy is in the front. The other two dudes in the middle, the sausage, are essentially weight. And then the dude at the end, the last guy, the fourth guy, is the brake. There's a brake in the back. They have a brake. I think it pivots the blades or something weird, but there's a brake. He steers in the front. This dude brakes in the back. They got all this extra weight. They go super fast. And that's what they train on. Well, he lost all of his weight, so you were seeing the back end sliding out all over the place because it didn't have any weight on it. So this was scary, and then when he got to the very end, you see him hunching back. That was because he had to get back to the brake to actually stop the thing so he didn't just go off some cliff or some shit. Who knows? There's probably no cliff, I hope. Would have run into a net or something. I assume they have in case something happens. But, yeah, not good. That's certainly not a way to win a race, that's for sure. It's a shame this was some open. I hope that doesn't keep us out of the Olympics or something fucked up. Anyway, we'll see. I love you guys. We're going to keep fighting the fight. That's all I know. And I'm not going to stop doing it. I'm doing it with you guys. Your guys' ripples are making it possible. Your guys' focus on a better tomorrow is making it possible and making it happen faster. That is what matters most. I love you guys. Where we go one. Oh, and the local stuff, by the way. When you work locally, very important. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.